here is my generalized lecture on health to help you and whoever else. So health, I found, mostly comes down to these major things here, which is firstly your diet, meaning what you eat and drink. This can also be if you smoke things or whatever you take into your body. Number 2 is sleep. So of course how many hours you get, how dark it is, the positions you sleep in. Next is people. So the people that you're around. If you're around a lot of sick people, you're psychologically sick, physically or emotionally sick, you will also get sick or have pressure on you. Next is your environment. This is a bit similar to people. This can be your home, your work environment, and it depends on how clean it is, for example, or how the airflow, the light, etc. Next, of course, is exercise, and this more means like physical exercise as a body, usually your muscle and bone training. After that, we have energy, which is like energy training. So it's your circulation, your nervous system. There's a lot of exercises that we'll go into for this. Next is trauma. So this is more related to your emotional health. So of course, traumas can cause like bad loops in your life, and they can damage organs and just cause all kinds of issue. Next is sex. This is more for men. Women have a bit more leniency, but of course men, if they have a lot of improper sex, then it causes a lot of issues on the body. Next is understanding of anatomy. So understanding the actual body. And then of course is understanding seasons or cycles. And I've kind of summarized health as you take in good energy. Like the keys to health is you take in good energy. This could be you get good sleep, you get good food, you're around good people, good environment, good exercises, good at anything. And then you use that energy to strengthen yourself, to tonify, strengthen, refine. You're strengthening the muscles, could be strengthening the energy, whatever it happens to be. And then you release the bad out, right? So you purge the bad. You clean your house. Your body will purge if you exercise lots. It'll just release all the toxins, right? You get rid of bad foods. You get rid of stresses or traumas, right? So it's pretty much take in good things, release bad, or do good things, and then get rid of bad things, and also strengthen. Because if you just take in good things and you don't strengthen the body, it's not going to be able to handle the stresses of life. Anyway, let's get on to it. So diet is usually fairly simple. You firstly have to eat more so for your life and for who you are, who you want to be. But a simple guide is, of course, meat, carbohydrates, and vegetables. Very, very easy. You try to get a good amount of these, and of course, depending if you are trying to be more physical, more strong in the body, you get more meat. And if maybe you need to do more mental work, or it's hotter. Usually when it's hotter, your body will want less meat. It'll want more simple sugars. When it's colder, your body will want more protein. Okay, I do recommend an omnivorous diet, so meat and vegetables. I don't recommend a vegetarian. You can do it, but it is more difficult. There's a lot of good protein in meat. It just takes us into nutrient-dense foods. Now, you don't eat nutrient-dense foods when you're really sick. You want simple foods when you are sick. So you tailor your diet to, if you're healthy, nutrient-dense foods are good. But if you're sick, you just get simple things like stews and porridges, and a really easy, well-cooked, simple, kind of mushy, like with a lot of moisture foods. So when you're feeling sick, or when you are sick or weak, whatever, that's what you kind of eat. And then when you're healthier, you can eat, more things, right? Because you just want something that's easy to digest, easy to, eat. That's why I'm not really into like the whole raw, like a lot of people are getting into like eating raw meats and all that. Personally, I think when you cook something, you kind of mature, or you kind of, you transform it. So you make it more digestible, more good. Even though there is technically there's more nutrition in something that's raw, but it's less digestible. So anyway, nutrient-dense foods, of course, you've got organs. So organ, things like oysters, roots, like a root vegetable, usually. These things, very nutrient-dense. You probably shouldn't, or rich. Anything rich is kind of nutrient dense, and you should incorporate it into your diet. You shouldn't eat too much. If you eat too much, it's like, it's not really good for you. The amount of food, how much do you need to eat? I'm not really a person who advocates like a lot of restriction. A lot of people trying to like get skinny or whatever. I don't think that's really healthy. It depends on your climate, of course. The colder the climate, usually the fatter you kind of want to be, while the warmer, the skinnier you are. If you look at like an African, they're very short and they're very skinny. Or if you look at like a northern person, maybe you go into like Germany, or I would imagine Russia, they're going to be a bit more taller and fatter, right? Because it's a colder climate, you kind of need that. So those are kind of the dualities. And as I said, the more energy, or I don't really restrict. I find you got to eat. You got to like, your body will tell you how much you want to eat, and usually it will tell you what you kind of should be eating. Like you'll have a feeling to get something, to get a certain meat or a certain, and just kind of follow that, and eat and satisfy yourself. And usually on rest days, so when you're not working, when you're not doing as much stuff, you want to eat more. And on what days that you're doing a lot of work, of course you want to eat to, fuel yourself. But I find I don't want as much food, just because I don't want to be full while doing things. But of course, take it, do what is best for you. And I recommend whole foods. Try to learn to cook, or just try to get, if you don't know how to cook or whatever, try to get what is, good. I'm not super against. The only thing I'm against on like fast foods and all that is more because they use seed oils, right? But meat and potatoes and bread and all this stuff, there's nothing wrong with it. It's more because of all the preservatives and all the other stuff that is not so good. So that's why fast food is most of the time to be avoided. But of course you can kind of cook it yourself. Anyway, that should be enough on that. Here we are on sleep. So for sleep, you want to get a good amount. It may sound like a long time, but about 9 hours is actually not a bad idea. They say 8 hours, but depending on the kind of life you live, if you do a lot of physical exercise or you're sick, you will need more sleep. It could be up to 10, even 11 hours, even sometimes more. If you're sick as well, you're going to need a lot of sleep. Sleep is probably one of the most important things. If you think about it, it's like, imagine if you don't eat enough, like you skip lunch. That's kind of what skipping, like only getting maybe 6 or 5 hours of sleep is like. It's like skipping a meal. It's not good. So you really just want to like sleep as much as you can, I find, and then just like your body will tell you how much it needs, and then learn that, and then you can prepare your day. You may have to go to sleep a little bit earlier, but ultimately you want a good amount of sleep. It's probably the most important thing for health. It's probably the most important. If you can't get enough sleep, you're going to have to get naps. Now, also, sometimes if you're tired, exhausted, you work too much, you probably will have to nap on your days off, unfortunately. They basically just turn into like rest days. It's not very fun, but it is what it is. You may want to use an alarm clock because you may sleep too much. Quality of sleep, the darker it is, the better. Try not to keep any lights on. Try not to keep any electronics on. Don't keep a computer running. Don't keep a phone on. Or if you have to turn your phone on, try to turn the Wi-Fi off, or put on airplane mode if you don't need to take calls. Just say you're like not on call for work or something. Otherwise, if you're just using it as an alarm clock and keep it on airplane mode, this will enhance the quality. Of course, get a little bit of airflow as well. That's good through your room. The time you go to sleep, of course, when it is darker, you're going to be better off. Nowadays, I kind of just instinctually wake up at around kind of when the sun does, maybe, and I try to force myself to get more. Yeah, I don't know. That's just like an instinctual thing. It's probably because we're in Aries, so it's like, that initial area of the sun is just so, or time of day is just so strong right now. But otherwise, yeah, when it's dark, if you can sleep, you will be better. If you can, of course. And position, you might not think about this, but the direction that your head rests is actually really important. So I'm pretty sure, because I'm in the southern hemisphere, I put my head towards the south, I think. You can feel this out. If you lay down, or even if you sit, you'll feel that your blood and your energy will be drawn to a certain direction. For me, it's drawn to the north. So if I put my head to the south, my blood goes down to the north, which means it goes down to my feet, which for me is good, because you got to understand if you have the blood and energy going to your torso and your head, that means more intelligence, more thoughts, more dreams, more imagination, all that stuff, but it's less good on your body. If you want to just heal your body and get strong and stable and have better fertility and all that stuff, then you want the blood going to your legs and your hips and your pelvis and your lower, your belly and all that area, right? So personally, that's what I like doing. And there's also this 2 side positions as well. You can look up, what these all means. It's related to the elements. Seasons. Depending on the season will depend on which of your organs and related systems of the body is being stimulated. For example, in summer, it's more so your heart. In winter, it's more so the bladder and the kidneys, right? They also get tested. So these organs will be under a lot of pressure. For example, if you're cold all the time and you're not very good with handling the heat, your bladder usually will be affected, your waterways will be affected. Similarly, if you have a strong bladder, strong water system, you're going to be stronger in the winter. Usually people who are skinnier are better in summer, and people who are fatter are better in winter, or colder times you can think. And also, when the seasons change, we get ill, because again, the energy passively goes into whatever organ and organ system and parts of the body relating to that. And if you've spent all this time where it's been in the heart and like in the head and other areas, then your legs or whatever, they're kind of building up toxins, you got to think. So you can think there's light and dark areas of the body, or like positive and negative, and the negative is building up the toxins. That's like the storage area of the house, right? And then eventually when a light gets, you turn the light on and you go, oh, look at all this junk. Then you got to start removing it. And that's when winter comes, and then, you got to start removing all the junk out of the winter parts of the body. So that's why we usually get these seasonal illnesses. So if you just let yourself purge and you just let yourself, adjust to the temperature, you'll be better. Which is why I don't really try to use too much aircon or anything like that. Of course, if you're like sicker and weaker, it is recommended to have like aircon or heater, or more layers of clothing or less layers or whatever, just so you don't strain yourself too much. But if you're trying to get stronger, you want to try to adjust a little more to the temperature. So temperature, of course, you can get heat sickness or cold sickness. You do have to focus on that. And of course, warm water. I always drink warm water or hot water just because I like it. It's a bit like people drink coffee and tea. Really what they want is the sugar and the warm water. You make hot water and sugar, and it's like it kind of hits that same thing without the caffeine. Probably should talk about things like caffeine. See, caffeine brings you up, so it weakens the body. It kind of stresses the organs and weakens the body to forcefully take you up. Alcohol is kind of the opposite, forcefully takes you down. though it does reduce stress, so it can actually help, but it does, too much of it, of course, is not good, and some people will not handle it very well. And also it does affect the waterways kind of badly, so do be careful about any kind of drug or other kind of substance, or don't use them in excess, basically. Just moderate and manage. Moisture is an important one. You either can lose fluids or gain them. Of course, in winter and summer, it's dry, and autumn and spring, it's more moist. So, depending if you are more affected by this, you'll want to moderate that. And of course, the changes of light. In summer, you're going to have much more light, so you are not going to be able to get as much sleep. So if you have issues where you need to sleep, summer's going to be hard on you. So, if you can think about that kind of stuff and get a lot of sleep during the winter, maybe you have to take time off work or whatever, so that you don't have to do that healing during the summer when it's not as effective. And then there's like sun exposure and all this kind of stuff. Too much sun exposure is not very good for you, but a bit of sun is good. So you do want to get some sun, but I'm talking like, in summer, mid-heat, just standing outside there. Of course, if you're strong physically, most of this stuff isn't really an issue, but I'm saying if you're kind of weak, you want to be careful of that. Some basic anatomy. So the back of the body is, I would consider negative, because it's kind of unconscious, subconscious, and the front is positive, right? The bottom of the body, around where, kind of like the navel, it's kind of like where an old person would wear, like an old guy would wear his pants, really high up, right? And the top is positive, and of course here we have a basic diagram of the organs, Chinese medicine style, right? And you can see the divisions kind of around the kidney region. The kidneys, of course, being the water organ, the most kind of yin organs, kidney and bladder, they are kind of the lowest, right? And the kind of heart and lungs being the most spiritual, they are the highest. And then we have technically the stomach's kind of more in the middle, but we'll just work with this for now. And of course liver, and then we have large intestines here, we have small intestines, and the bladder. So you can see we've got this here, or the lower areas are the storage organs, the storage of the different substances of the body that is being used for either elimination, holding, or like processing, or like fermenting, gathering resources from, whatever it happens to be. And then the upper ones are producing, or kind of gathering, so to speak. So in the body, energetically, this is like the most basic diagram. This is what you think of as the central channels of the body. And you can see here, these are the hips, these are the knees, these balls. I've drawn the purple to kind of give you a bit of an idea visually. And of course these are ankles, well, these are the shoulders, elbows and wrists. And this is like maybe the lower belly region, which is like the lower, like the center of gravity, the kind of lowest center in the body, right? Around the bladder, and kind of here in the bladder and small intestines. This is like more the heart, and I guess technically stomach, heart, and like lungs. It's more like here. It's the up kind of the middle, or technically the upper of the torso, because what you've got to realize is the head's kind of like an extensory organ. So technically the middle of the body is actually more like here, in between the, which is actually like the stomach and kidney region, you could think. So, because the head is like the opposite of the genitals. You can think they're both extensory. The genitals is like the extensory or extra organ of the negative region, while the head is more the extra of the positive region, right? The head has like it's got a couple major energy centers, but the major one is like the brain region, right? And you can focus on all these, and they just, they feel like major areas where energy like gathers, so to speak. And then of course the channels is just through the center of the body. And of course, you've got multiple channels. I'm not really going into a lecture on energy work and all that stuff, but you've got channels going up, the back, the front, the sides here, in between here and all these areas, right? But just to focus on simple stuff, these are, kind of what you think of as the major channels. And you can also think in between here, you've got muscles, right? You've got your muscles on the front, on your front, on the back, and then on the front, on the back. Same thing with the arms, front, back, or top, bottom, depending on if the position of the hand and all that. So that's kind of an easy way to understand that the joints is like that connection here, that hinging area, and then you've got muscle connecting the joints together on the bone. It's just like a stick of meat, right? So that's some simple anatomy for you, at least. Alright, so continuing on, exercise is a very important part of health because it essentially strengthens your body. Think of it this way: if you're a certain level of health, then bad things like bad weather, bad food, maybe people, whatever, will affect you a certain amount. But if you're stronger, they're going to affect you less. The same way, if you're weaker, they're going to affect you more. So strengthening the body, which really is just strengthening the muscles, and then the muscles, of course, here is our little muscle. It connects to the tendon, and of course the bones are like, that's what everything hangs on. That's the frame of the body. But mostly what we're doing is we're strengthening the muscles, right? And these strengthen the organs. So the stronger your body, the more resilient you are to stress, to temperature, even things like hunger and thirst, to disease, etc., and mental illness, physical illness, etc., which is why it's such an important thing to do. Now, going on, here are some basic ideas of the body. Now, usually an exercise will target either the upper body, as we can see here, we have the arms and the chest, and then the lower body. Or it will target the back, as you see here is the back of the body, or the front. And it also can be the back of the arms, or the back of the legs, or the front of the legs, or it can also be sometimes the sides as well, so side and side. But usually you can just think of it simply like it's targeting the upper front of the body, or the upper back, or the lower back, or the lower front, right? I usually think of it like this almost as well. Just say if you think about your arm, imagine your bicep. This is like the bone, and this would be the bicep, right? So it's on top, and then we have the tricep down below. But the arm also has muscle on the left and the right side. So most things in the body is like that. Same thing with the leg. You have your quad muscle, then you have your hamstring, but you also have muscle around the sides as well, whether they are just the quad muscle and the hamstring just kind of weaving itself around, but you can also think of it that way, and you can kind of specifically target different parts of the muscle if you want. So our major functions of the muscle is firstly is to stretch. Stretching is good if you just say you feel a bit like you're not very warmed up, you feel kind of maybe you've just done too much work and you're a bit too, and you're kind of worried about hurting yourself. Stretching is a good thing to do. Also, if you feel tight and tense and kind of just awful, we can relax the muscles, which again is good to decompress and to just give them cool down time. And of course, we can tense the muscles, and most exercise can be summarized as tensing the muscles. We're just using weights or using different positions to tense them. And of course, if you have not developed your muscles, you will not be able to feel them very well, and they won't be quite as developed. And of course, most people have imbalances, meaning certain parts, left or right side is weaker or stronger, upper and lower is weaker and stronger, front and back is one of them's weaker and stronger, right? So it's usually good to work on your weak sides. And the main kinds of exercises are with weights or body weight, which is calisthenics, and of course weights goes into dumbbell and barbell or machine. They're all good. And soft means like soft movement exercises or sometimes stretching. Of course, stretching can be strenuous sometimes. And sometimes softer ones can also be intense to an extent. But what I mean is like, something that you're not tensing quite as much, like a Tai Chi or yoga or, something like that, right? Depending on the position, as I said, some positions are very strenuous. I'm sure you get what I mean. Anyway, I will have a bit of a video to show some basic routines. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Just an FYI, the camera is a bit funny in these clips. I think because of the lighting, it wasn't less stable. So if that's a bother, just don't watch it otherwise. Okay, so let's go into the basic calisthenics. So first we'll start off with the head. What you want to do for the head is, this is kind of an optional one, but you can, if you're able to tense you kind of focus on like the upper head and you tense it, right? And you go, and you can focus on your jaw and tense that as well. So you're tensing, it kind of shakes and vibrates. It's almost like you're tensing the spine up to the head, and you just hold that. You relax. That's how, like, I could feel all the blood rushing to my brain. That's kind of how you tense the brain and the head, the upper head region, right? You can isolate the jaw and just do tense, relax, and go, or that's how you strengthen the jaw. So I'm closing it and then tense, relax, or you can do tense and hold it, and then relax, and then tense and hold it, and then relax, right? Next, to train the eyes, you want to pick a point somewhere. It can be far away, it can be close. Try different points, and then you just focus intently on the eyes, and you kind of tense the eyes a bit, and you stare. It's like you're trying to like really stare someone down, or you're really trying to stare something. You're just focusing intently. You don't want to strain yourself, but you just do that and you just hold that intense focus on something. And again, all of these you can do for as long or as little as you want. I do them all for like 20-30 seconds maybe. And just say if you want to strengthen your eyes more, you do more eye exercises. If you want to strengthen the head more, you do more head exercises. Now for the neck, we go left, right, like this. Up, down, up, down. And then like this, so tilting to the left and to the right. And then we do circles, roll it like so. And you can do you can do a couple sets of those. So you repeat it, etc. And you can tense the neck, so you can tense it, relax, tense all the neck muscles, and you can just hold that if you want. And you keep those neck muscles tense, and then relax it, and that's how you strengthen the neck. If you've got any neck issues, I've had one awful, like ages ago. That's how I helped that. Now for shoulders, so we go like out, like this. And you do about 8 to 12 of those, or you can do more if you want. And then we do lift them, so you kind of keep them around the legs. And I'm bending down to like get you a better view. And usually I'd be standing because I'm pretty tall, so I have to like, the camera might not pick me up too well. That's just, if you're wondering why I'm kind of bending down, just lift them up and down. And you want to feel like the back
you want to engage that. And then we do rolling, so like this, and then the other way. So you do clockwise and counterclockwise. And you feel that shoulder, feel the back of the shoulder. Okay. For this calisthenics, I don't really do anything for the arms. You could do like this if you want. I leave that for my weights. For more the hands and the wrists, we go rolling it. So roll it the other way. And we do up, down like this. And the opposite way. And then like this. And that's good for the wrists. In the hands, tense, relax, tense, relax, tense, relax, tense, relax, like so. And I just do it like this. You can do like 30, 50 of those, depending on how, if you want more hand, like strength, then you do more. And then the fingers, we tense the fingers, relax, tense the fingers, relax. And then it's kind of like this. That's what it looks like. And that's good for your fingers. Then for kind of like this area, for like kind of the torso, I go side to side, like so. And then we go back, forward, back. And this is more the upper spine region, as you can see. I'm not really trying to bend too much. Left and right, and you can do circles if you want. Alright. For more the lower spine and the pelvis, then you kind of move the pelvis around like so, left and right. And then you do like this, kind of hinging around the butt, and then it's like a half bridge. And pull it back. And you only do as much as you want, as you safely can. And that's good for the torso. Alright, now for the hips, first thing you do side leg lift like this. It's kind of like you're hinging from the hip joint, just turning it to the side, you can see, and you do 20 of those each leg, and then you roll on the hip like this. Hold something if you need support, and you do the opposite way, and do it with the second leg. That's very good for the glutes, for the hips. Any kind of issues there. Next is for like the knees. So you do a horse stance, but then you put pressure on the left leg, and then you go up, and then you put pressure on the right, and then you go, and you're kind of putting pressure on the heels, like this. So down, up, down, up. I hope the camera is picking this up. And the more you can push down, the better. But you want to keep yourself straight. Like this. And it's actually very good for the kidneys and the knees. Next is hamstring. All you do is just lift like that. So it's the back of the leg. These exercises are kind of like odd area exercises that we don't really do a lot of. For the whole body. So you do as many of those as you feel, and then finally for the calves, we do foot lifts or calf lifts, like so. So you're going up on your toes, and then you go down, up, down, up, down. And this strengthens like the lower leg. And then for the foot, you kind of lift it up, and then you go tense, release, tense, relax, tense, relax. So it's like you're just doing this with the foot. And that gets you more foot strength and just control, conditions it. If you're gonna get cramps or whatever, it'll force you to deal with that. Then you can do like, if you want more, you do that again, all that again. Otherwise, what I like to do is I tense. So from like the chest to the hands, I'm tensing the whole upper body. So I'm feeling the whole, like the lats, the arms, and just doing like this. And you can do different positions, like you can push down, you tense, you hold it, and then you pull it here. It's like this, and you're tensing all the muscles, and you can push up. And again, I'm bending to try to show you on camera what it looks like, and you just tense and you hold, and then you relax, and you'll go out, tense and hold. This, if you're not used to it, will give you a lot of muscle cramps and like spasms and all kinds of stuff. It's a bit like wrestling or fighting, whatever, when you're just holding, you're like tensing all the muscles. And if you're not accustomed to it, then you will be in a lot of pain. So they're actually really good as like a body weight. And for the legs, you can do a horse stance, and you tense to hold the muscles while holding a horse stance. And a horse stance is just kind of like a semi-wide stance where you're feeling like you're trying to sit. So you're trying to go low, a little bit low, and you're feeling like you're sitting while keeping the arm, the torso kind of upright. And I'm tensing from like the lower back almost, the lower belly, the legs and the feet. One thing I forgot is the genital exercises. So what you do, you think like, so your butthole's there and then your genitals is there, right? You tense the whole, what we call the urogenital diaphragm, which is like this whole area here. You tense that, tense, release, tense, release, tense, release. As I said, you can do pulses too, like this, or you tense and hold, relax, tense and hold. So again, this is the anus and the genital muscle. Tense and hold, relax, relax, relax. Very good. I know it's a bit, but it's again, that is the foundation this is the foundation of the body. If there's one exercise you take from this video, is that, because that's what literally all of your muscles, whoop, whoop, whoop. It's like the roots of the tree. So, that's the body weight. For this one, camera angle is a bit weird. It's just kind of what we're going to have to work with. Now, your main fundamental exercises with weights is your squat, your deadlift, your bench press, your rows, and I guess your overhead. Simple, right? First, starting off with deadlift, of course, you get the bar in front of you, you get your feet under it. I do underhands because it's better for my areas, and then you can do overhands if you want more front body. I do underhand for back body. Basically, you're trying to get low, keep your arms kind of straight, and what you're trying to do is I'm tall, so it's kind of difficult. It's a bit wonky, but you get low enough so that when you, it's almost like a squat, like you can get low enough into a squat position, right? And then I'm basically trying to do a nice, like an up, keep my body upright and use the legs and the hips to push myself up, right? And I'm keeping the arms kind of straight. You don't want to keep anything straight enough that your joints lock. So you keep that little bit of like, you know, flexibility. And then we go down. And again, I'm keeping the torso. So if you can look at keeping my torso straight, but I'm kind of, it's like my butt is going down. Like I'm focusing on the butt and the legs. And then I'm just, you know, anyway, this wasn't really meant to be a form guide, but that's it. That's how you can do it. Next one, of course, rows, bend over rows again are like underhand. You bend your body and then you just lift up. You're trying to feel the lats, you're trying to feel the back.
Make sure to keep your torso straight and always hinge or bend around your hips or your butt area.
Like the sides of your body a little bit too. And you just pull it up like so, right? Like that. Here, let me get front view. So rows, go look up a form video. And if you know what teres major and minor, these are like here, and then of course you get your lats. That'll really go into that. As I said, squat. You can just do regular squats, like so, like that. You know, you can do hands down. Really, it's just trying to keep your torso straight. You're focusing kind of on your ass, and you're going down, expanding, like your hips open. And then you're pushing up from the heels, and you want to tense your ass, right? Tense your ass and kind of push it forward. Push the hips forward a little bit. You're not trying to go whoosh like that, but you're trying to, because you want them tense and tight. And then of course, you know, you got your front squat. If you want to do that, you got your, or you got your back one like that. Oh, I like front better because it just kind of feels like it balances you out more. Now, either you're to push up for kind of tricep area. So either you do push up or you do,
for any body weight exercises like push-ups or pull-ups, make sure to look up the easier variants as well. You really want to go to those first.
I'll just get a dumbbell so this will be easy to show. Or I don't know if you can even see this on the camera, or you just got your bench press. Again, this isn't a form video. Go look these up yourself if you need. I'm just telling you, as I said, squat, deadlift, row, bench press. Do you need anything more than that? Again, some people say overhead, like so. Oh, you can if you want. It's up to you, but to be honest, even just squat, bench press, rows, because you want to think it's legs, upper body, and your upper body is pull, push, right? And you can replace rows with pull-ups. As I said, you can replace push-ups with, or bench press with push-ups. And of course, you know, I do like the curls. It just makes you feel good. If you know what I mean. So these are good. I do them under. You can do them hammer, you can do them over, again, any kind of underhand or what you call overhand is kind of more front. Just feel the body, feel the muscles that it tenses. And then under is more back, side and back and all that. And then neutral is neutral. As I said, when you tense a muscle, that's when you're exercising it. And when you stretch it, you're expanding it. So how do you stretch this? You pull it. So you pull this and it pulls the muscle. The same way when we do the exercise like this, you put weight here, then you're strengthening the opposite way. If I wanted to stretch that, I'd pull this out like so. There's that stretch. So it's like you're stretching or tensing. That's the two kind of ways to you think, and it's opposites. So when you're doing this for a curl, you're strengthening this one. But if I was doing this as a stretch, I'm stretching out the and you probably lift it and you go like this and you stretch that out, right? So it's opposites. Anyway, that's enough.
Okay, so now we're going to work on spiritual exercises, and of course I'm going back to my basic little diagram here. Now, the most basic spiritual exercise is just to, well, I guess technically it would just be to sit and to meditate, but in more working with energy, it would be to stand or to sit, depending on if you want to work with the whole body or just the torso. And then it is to focus throughout the whole body. And of course, you can use this mental map of like these are the major centers, so you'll kind of feel them, warm up or stimulate. And you want to essentially just focus on the body. Just hold focus throughout the whole body. So again, if you're standing, you hold it through your legs and your arms and your head and your central torso, and you just keep focusing as if you're trying to fill your body with focus, because focus is spiritual energy. And when you focus on the body, you are imbuing it and stimulating it with spiritual energy, and you just keep holding that focus in the body. And as you do that, you will fill the body and it will tense, and you'll get strange sensations of heat and such, and then it'll release and open, and you'll unblock certain like locks and blockages and such, right? Of course, you don't want to tense, but you don't want to be over relaxed. It's like a bit half and half, so to speak. So that's exercise number 1. Of course, exercise number 2 is, this is what we call like yin cultivation. You're gathering yin energy, and it's good for, the way I see it, it's kind of like turning back the clock of, of life, so to speak. If anything's going to make you physically immortal, it's probably this exercise, or it's probably something related to it, is the simplest way I can put it, because we're working with pure yin. Now, pretty much what you are trying to do with this exercise is you are focusing on the lower belly. So you think here's like the navel, you focus on the bladder region, and you'll sit when doing this one. And you'll just focus on the bladder region to build up energy there. Eventually, once you feel like it is, maybe after like 5 minutes or so, once it feels good enough, then you will focus down to the reproductive center. So the inner reproductive center. So for men, of course, it's the prostate. For women, it's like the womb. So you just feel feel the genitals, right? And you just go inward to like the root of the genitals, you think. So what is at the end there? For women, again, it's the root of the vaginal canal is the womb, and the root for men of the penis is the prostate, essentially. And once you've kind of like purified that and like cleaned it out and filled it up, so to speak, you'll, again, if you do this, you'll get what I mean. And once it's kind of released a lot of tension, like if there's excess tension or bad energy or bad heat there, that'll help. And then finally, you focus down on the anus, your arsehole, essentially. I know it sounds a bit strange, but you also want to focus on the bowels, because that is the specific organ, or like the lower colon area. This is the root of again, if you know about the central, okay, if we have a body, there's the eyeballs, see, it looks like a flask, because it's like the torso, The anus is the root of this is what we call goes to the basically the teeth there, the GV or governor vessel, and then the front one is called the conception vessel. So governor, and then conception, like having a baby, and vessel, right? Basically channels. That is the same way the mouth and the anus, which is what is the beginning and the end of the digestive system. It's your mouth and your arsehole. So you can kind of think about it, like, I don't really want to go too deep into this idea, but you can think about it like you've got two systems in the body. You think your mouth, which goes through the organs, the intestines, and then goes out your butt, and then you've got your genitals, which is like the water system leading to the kidneys, and that kind of, I think it leads to like the brain, and maybe leads like the heart and all that. So you've got like these two systems in there. Anyway, basically you hold, once you've stimulated the bladder and the genitals, you hold it at the root, which is called the arsehole, your anus, right? And you just keep holding it there. And the longer you hold it there, and clear out all of that stagnant energy and just heal it, the healthier essentially you will be, the more grounded you will be, right? And this is a form of what's called yin meditation or cultivation, as opposed to yang would be working with the head. But the problem with working with the head is that you're not going to get healthy by transmuting all your energy upward and like becoming more spiritual. It's kind of an issue. It doesn't help the physical body, besides being more intelligent and you're making smarter decisions. So anyway, two meditations, basically full body circulation or focus, and the yin or negative energy cultivation, or gathering, whatever. So try them out, and hopefully it helps. Okay, so another bit of, like, I get it. Again, if we want to really understand health as the root, we kind of have to just go through these things. So anyway, onto sex. So by sex I mean like any kind of masturbation, sex, whatever stuff, right? So of course this is a little bit different depending on if you're a man or a woman. I haven't fully understood the women's practices, but I have a vague idea. For men though, specifically, sex is a thing that can potentially really drain you of energy and really make you sick and weak, and just absolutely kind of a pathetic person, unfortunately, if you don't understand like how to work with it and do it properly. Women have a little bit more, or I should say a lot more leeway. Mind you, though, I have seen a lot of women with what we call kidney and bladder issues. So it is, women can be negatively affected by sex. It's just that they have a lot more, because women, they physically, their legs and their pelvis and their lower belly is what the body is focusing all the energy on, because it's the yin or the negative area of the body, right? Well, the man, it's more the heart and the lungs and the head, and the ability to project and to use force and strength and all that. And men are always external. Our energy is always volatilizing. So it's like we eat something and you get that sugar and it's turning to like, muscle energy or heat or whatever. While women, it's more turning to like fluids and whatever, right? So going on, seasonally, it's going to be different. So in the winter, when it's colder and at night, you're going to have to be very careful. Similarly, also in the morning. The morning's probably the worst time. Don't come in the morning, like just straight up. If you can avoid it, just don't. And don't at midnight. It's not very good. Try to at least wait until like early afternoon or late morning to say if you've been up for a couple of hours and like okay. And once it becomes too cold, like it's, past, 10 p.m., 12 p.m., like probably, it's probably time to not. Of course, if you're all warmed up and it's like nighttime and you're with your husband or wife or whatever, that's fine. I'm just saying if it gets too cold and you've been up for too long, it's like, it's not the best, it's not the smartest, but at least it's better than morning. Of course, it depends on the person. But going on, I'm not saying that you can't, if you're a man, that you just can't nut, that you just can't come. It's you want to, like, you'll learn your own body rhythms. You'll want to, release, because it actually, your prostate, here's a little anatomical diagram. We have kidneys here, we have bladder, prostate, and gonads. And your prostate does build up a lot of like bad energy if you don't come. So, and also your genitals atrophy if they do not get blood in them. So you do need to be, on that. But if you do it too much, if you come too much, you will get kidney and bladder issues. Now, I believe, of course, that the bladder is essentially the lower dantian. Ideas of the water center, of storing the essence of all the transmuting water to fire, the heart being the fire, all this kind of stuff, right? To me, it just sounds kind of obvious. And what happens is that, like they said in Mopai, they weren't allowed to come basically because the lower dantian would move its position. Now, what happens is that the bladder has a lot more room to expand when the prostate is smaller. So it's kind of like when guys have prostate issues, they have bladder issues as well because it puts a lot of pressure on there. Similarly, when they talk about the negative center in like, this isn't a Mopai video or anything, but I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. The prostate is probably the negative center, at least in men. So, positive, negative, they tried to combine them together. I'll go over that in another video, just don't worry too much. So what happens is that if you come, you just think of it like a cup of water, right? You've got maybe layers of water. You lose the bottom layer, and then the middle layer here, which is like the kidneys, and this layer, actually technically I guess it'd be the top in this scenario, and then the middle layer of the bladder has to go down to like refill this, right? So the energy of the bladder goes and regenerates the and the testicles, I guess, regenerate like the prostate. Or for women, it'd be the ovaries and the bladder energy and substances in the urine, I believe it's used, then has to fill, so to speak, the womb, right? So then the kidneys have to fill the bladder, right? And have to regenerate everything. So if you just keep nutting and nutting and nutting, it's just the kidney energy just keeps going down, 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 down. The bladder energy just keeps going down, 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 and then you basically just deplete it. It's the same way if you have issues with this center, then it, will cause issues, I guess you could say, with all of these systems. It's like a syphilis was like a urogenital, because it was like an STD, but also related a lot to the kidneys. So that's kind of an obvious tell about this stuff. And they use mercury to treat it, which is mercury was related to the kidneys and bladder. So not now, but they used to. Interesting stuff, right? So right, what do? You learn. Firstly, you got to strengthen your perineal area, your dick, pretty much, by like tensing your dick. You can get it hard then, and you can try to like lift it and do all that kind of stuff. There's a bunch of other exercises where you like tie something around your whole genitals, and then you just like hang like a kilogram or two. There's like exercises like that, and then once you want to get that strong enough, and you want to only be coming like once every 3 times, depending, or once every 5. Again, it depends on how healthy you are, on how strong you are, on what kind of like availability of resources, and also if you're working. If you're working a lot, you probably don't have the time to be coming all the time. But it also depends. Some guys, if they're really strong and it's like summertime, they can just come every day, right? And it's not really going to cause them too much of an issue. So as I said, with seasons, the hotter it is, usually the more you can come as a man. The colder it is, the less you kind of want to, right? And the moon will have a strong effect, like the full moon and even the new moon will have a strong effect where it kind of forces you to come, right? It's like all the sea creatures, like the coral or something, I think, releases it's a bit like a plant releasing its like pollen, that's during the full moon apparently. So if you kind of look into these cycles, it explains it. So what you're doing by not coming every time is that when you have sex, or you masturbate or whatever, you are generating generative energy. Same thing if they don't come either, it's the same thing. If you're a woman, you're generating more, I think it's like the mucus in the womb, right? And that's like the sexual energy. Same thing with men, you're generating more of this stuff, so you're going to have pressure, and if you do it too much, you're going to feel too much pressure, and then you'll feel it, and that's when you need to bust, right? You'll feel like too much pressure in like the veins that go up the leg, and like the prostate and the testicles and all this kind of stuff, if you can't hold it. But basically what you're doing is it's like this thing, instead of going down, it goes up. So you fill this, then you fill this, and you strengthen, like the bladder will strengthen. It's why in the winter, if you have a weak bladder or kidney in the winter, you'll be cold and you feel awful, or it's like after you nut, you need a piss and like your bladder is weak. You strengthen these and the kidneys, right? And that's basically gathering. It's a form of gathering what you call yin or negative energy, right? Through sexual practice. Which is why you get into like the whole dual cultivation, all that kind of part of health and such. And of course, if you have too much of it, it'll put too much pressure everywhere, and your body won't have enough. It's like drinking too much water or eating too much of like protein. Protein, for example, gives you this kind of energy. Like meat and protein and salt gives you this kind of energy. They say it builds jing, right? Jing building stuff is like milk and meat and anything really salty, and root vegetables. For women specifically, having children uses a lot of this energy, and producing milk does as well, and also a period, the moon cycle. That's why they feel miserable. A lot of women take iron, but I think copper and zinc would actually be better. Zinc is like one way to get more of this stuff, but it makes you a bit too yin if you're a man, so it's not really. Of course, I wouldn't overdo it if you're a woman either. There are many like exercises, like testicle exercises. You can rub the lower belly to like stimulate and purify the bladder, because sometimes the bladder, you've got toxins in it and you've got to release it somehow, right? Or the prostate or the womb. These are very, a lot of women have issues with the womb. A lot of men have issues with the prostate, right? You can tap on it, on the lower belly region, And you can do a ha, like a ha kind of sound, do that loudly, and you'll feel ha. If you push there, what you're doing is you're vibrating, and you're also pushing on the bladder and bladder and the prostate, and if you're a woman, the womb area, right? Which is why I think, because that's what they do for the lower dantian actually, and it hits the same area, so it kind of. Don't overdo it, but don't underdo it. I guess don't overdo it, don't underdo it. You don't want to atrophy yourself, which is why you can do exercises to keep yourself strong. And as I said, you can have sex or masturbate or whatever, but you just don't want to come all the time. Unless it's like summer or you're super strong, just moderate. You'll learn, you'll figure it out. This is for people who need to understand this stuff. You will figure it out. Just practice. Okay, so environment is an important part of health, believe it or not. Really what this comes down to is like the nature around you, so natural areas. It also it's like your house where you live and the people, right? So bad people are going to make you sick, stressed, miserable, bad social experiences. Maybe you're in fear, maybe you're just in worry, maybe you're just angry at them, maybe you just feel awful or guilty or whatever, Just bad people just rile up your emotions and it's awful, right? Try to keep away from them when you can. Try to be as resilient against them if possible. Same thing in the workplace. If you work at a bad workplace, maybe there's like fumes of certain things, like you're in a workshop or factory area or whatever. Not good. EMF and computers. Try to like work with your computer. Don't run too many high power applications all the time. Try not to be always running a bunch of different programs on your computer. Turn them off. When you don't need your web browser, turn it off. When you don't need your phone, turn it off or put it on airplane mode. Because again, EMF, don't stand too close to like Wi-Fi routers and fridges and microwaves and all these kinds of things. Not good for you. Plants around the house, you can have them in the house, but it's a bit, they die, so it's a bit hard. But having plants around you is good. Having too many plants is not so good, I found. They do try to take over, so you've got to be very careful, and different plants will have different effects on you. So, sometimes you can be sick because there's a bad plant near you. Who knows? Or maybe a plant is helping you. Air and water or feng shui, the wind will go through if your house isn't cluttered. If, again, too many plants will block the wind. Too much junk will block the wind. You want your house to be as clean as possible. Clean the floor, clean the walls, clean the roof, clean the surfaces, get rid of all the junk, get rid of all the mold. The bathroom is the bathroom and kitchen and laundry, anywhere that has water, is a big troublesome area. You want to make sure it's good and working. Fix things that are broken. It's not good for your health when you've got like a broken sink or a broken door or something. It's just not really good. The outer world is the inner world. You want to fix that up. Always have some air, if you can, circulating, like a window. Just keep a little bit of that window open. Of course, if you live in a really bad area and the fumes are awful, I get it. It's not. Air circulation is a good thing, right? Maybe you can buy like a humidifier if you can't keep a window open or something. Then of course you got to be careful of mold, but there's plenty of things you can buy for for that, to control heat and whatever, and humidity and all kinds of stuff. And then finally, spiritual phenomena. A lot of the time, if your house is moldy, this is like a spiritual phenomena, and it will actually dry up or go away when you've fix it, so to speak. Because again, mold makes you hallucinate, which basically is just getting you into a spiritual state. So it's kind of like the mold is almost emanating like bad vibes, so it's like a ghost or whatever. That's kind of like the physical manifestation of like ghosts and like negative stuff, right? This can be mold, or can be like weird smell, like bad smells, or like rats and ants and like, bugs. You want to get rid of all the bugs. That's a big one, bugs. How do you get rid of those? You kill them. You kill them, or you grab them and throw them out, right? You have to be very efficient and brutal with pests. You cannot let them live in your house. You have to get rid of them, and you have to be very punctual about getting rid of them. Seal up any of the holes. That's what ants and mouse and rats love to go through those. And spiders and all that, seal everything up. Make sure it's, you don't have all these cracks and all these, ripped open holes and, all this junk. If there's water damage, they love that. That's how they get in. And tile damage, you'll get pests. You'll get mammals basically running into your house, like raccoons and possums and whatever your country has, and it's not good. I guess that's why things like salt, antibacterial salt and silver, and certain herbs and spices, and like warming or drying things, and that's kind of what was used for spiritual phenomena and bugs usually. Okay, so this one is the last one, and of course we're going to be talking about traumas, which is actually a very important thing, because it doesn't matter if your body is, mostly healthy and your house is mostly clean and your energy is flowing well. I mean, of course, these things all will actually help to get rid of traumas and to handle them and such. But point being, if you're a person who's afraid to leave the house, you're afraid of a person at your work, or you're afraid of driving a car, or trying to do something in your life, it's not really going to be good for you, right? We need to understand them and to learn to fix them, right? Now, usually a trauma is an experience which may involve here a person, a place, or it's some kind of experience that was too intense for you to handle at that point. Your physical body was not strong enough to be, or is not resilient enough to handle it, to take it, and your energy is now no longer able to circulate, right? Which is what helps you to heal and just push through all this and to clean and clear it out. Because it's a bit like someone just threw a bunch of trash into your room, but you can only fit so much trash into the bin every week, right? You can only get rid of so much rubbish. You now have to get rid of all that rubbish. And if it's a cyclical thing, like it keeps happening, or even the emotional trauma, you get flashbacks, which is when you keep seeing or hearing or somehow sensing, in your imagination, or feeling like a bad thing just keeps happening and happening and happening, right? It's looping. Now it's like someone just keeps throwing trash into your room, and just every week you just keep having to throw it out and throw it out and throw it out. And of course you will get a little bit stronger as long as you're actively trying to work on this, but they're still throwing trash into you, which is not nice. So depending on the kind of trauma will be where it's located within the body. Fear will be kind of related to the kidneys and the root of the body, like the back, the lower parts. Sexual trauma, of course, is going to be related to the genitals. Trauma of the heart, of rejection, of just people being mean, is going to be in the heart, in the chest region. Speech trauma, of course, is going to be in the throat. And the back of the head is kind of like the realm of memories, or where subconscious visions come from. So sometimes if you keep getting visions, mental visions, you have to work on the back of the head region. If you don't know where it is, it's okay. Now, what you want to do is something called shadow work, which is how we work on healing the trauma, which is where you go into meditation. So you just relax, you sit and you rest, and then you will bring up the experience or the person or the place or the time, and you'll just re-experience it and just allow yourself, instead of, because usually when you have the loops, we lock, or we just block it out, or it makes us angry, or it makes us sad, or it makes us scared, or it makes us guilty or shameful or something, right? You want to, in that meditation, just feel the emotions, just let it kind of run through or rush through like water. Just feel it, because what's happening is that your organs are literally processing this. It's like you're digesting it, right? And just keep feeling it, keep letting it happen. If you need to like conquer someone or some experience or something, like counter it or defend yourself, then do that. Maybe someone's saying something mean to you, or they say, you'll never do this or whatever. It's like you fight it and overcome it, right? And you're just gonna have to keep doing that every day, and eventually get to a point where you're good, where when you get these loops, like this fear or this horrible shame, or this thing comes in and you get like the visions of everything, right? Which is called PTSD. Complex PTSD is when you have multiple different types of these. And I think like PTSD is when you have one of them, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder. This is like the psychological term, right? You'll have it during the day or night or whatever when you're doing stuff, and you have to like conquer it there. So you have to like feel emotions, kind of purge it out, let yourself handle it. Because you can think that's usually your body, unless you're being psychically attacked by a person, because that actually can bring upon these emotions. Like you can think of a person, maybe a bad experience, and they might be psychically attacking you because maybe they're thinking about their experience, they're guilty, or they don't want to deal with their shame or pain or whatever. Maybe they did something bad to you, and they're blocking it out and just like they're shoving you away psychically, essentially. So you got to realize, maybe another person, you're interacting psychically with another person, and you have to be strong enough to be resilient and to then process that. And of course, you need to take this into your life where you don't let people traumatize you again. You don't let people manipulate you or take advantage of you or do bad things to you, right? Again. And if people will dig into your weak points, so you have to like strengthen your weak points, which is your weak organs, your weak areas of the body, your weak muscles, right? Or whatever thought loops you get stuck on. It's horrible. People are literally disgusting. Like who does that? Who just like targets a person's weakness like that and then just I don't know what the fuck's wrong with these people. But yeah, people will do that, and you have to get strong enough to overcome it, right? Because there are people out there who like feed off this energy. They feed off the trauma energy because it is adrenaline. It's root energy. You are literally like extending the lifespan by feeding these people's roots, by having this traumatic experience. Or if it's like a specific targeted form of trauma, you are feeding a certain like organ or relating energy of this person. So if you let them like traumatize you, that's what you're doing. And that's why a lot of these people, they keep doing it, because that's how they like get their energy. It's how it's like if a person makes fun of another person, they do it for that buzz, right? It's a form of it's like a drug, or it's really fucked up. Like it's incredibly fucked up, and that we don't like punish this. It should really be punished heavily if people do this stuff to others, just because it's such like a messed up thing to do. But of course, unfortunately, society doesn't really take this kind of stuff seriously. It probably will eventually, but And of course, we have the idea of a trigger. Now, if you just say you are very traumatized, or you've just been traumatized, or whatever, you kind of want to get yourself away from a thing that triggers you, which is essentially just something that brings up that memory, that brings up that experience, and because of course that will force you to process it. But if you're not in a state where you can process it, you don't want to do that yet. You want to give yourself, usually like real strong traumas you'll get sick, or you'll need like 2-3 days, could even be a week, could even be weeks of just time to like literally let your body heal. Like it was such a nervous system shock, because you've got to think, people can physically punch you, or they can it's like electrocute you, like psychically. That's what a lot of this stuff is. Someone just yells at you and just releases all their like anger or something. That is just it's like a blow to all of your organs and your nerves and just everything, right? and then your body is just in shock trying to heal itself, and it locks up a bunch of stuff, and then you need those days to heal. You need that time to process everything inside and to let your body just recuperate. And you will be a little stronger, but it's like, I'll put it this way, it's not worth it, so it's not worth just getting traumatized all the time. If you think like, oh well, maybe I'll just get stronger off it, it's like, well, yes, but also no, it's not that simple, unfortunately. Yeah, but as I said, the main exercise is just to sit in meditation, bring it up, bring all the people up who've kind of hurt you. You don't have to forgive them. I don't think you should. I think that's a bit foolish. You don't have to forgive people. You don't have to think it's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay that someone hurts you. It's not okay if, people take advantage of you or do bad things. They are bad people, and they should learn. That's how bad people need harsher lessons, is basically the way to do it. So the idea of like forgiving and all this stuff, it's not really, the problem is it makes you into a person who gets taken advantage of, because people don't really take advantage of a person who they know is going to attack them back. If there's like a punishment for doing something, people won't do it, is what I'm saying. So you don't have to take that kind of wishy-washy kind of weak route. That is our little video on health. I hope you got something from it. Of course, a lot of people, I kind of thought it's almost like a public service thing, where a lot of people maybe they don't know about health, or they need some advice, or I don't know. So I just kind of thought, we'll just make this to summarize my ideas. But it's pretty simple, I think, to summarize it. Again, diet is just keep it simple. Just don't overeat, don't undereat, don't eat too much processed stuff. Just keep your diet fairly normal. Sleep, get as much as you can, get good quality sleep. Be around good people, keep bad people away. Environment, keep a good environment, clean your stuff, make sure it's all patched up, it's all fixed. Exercise your whole body, exercise your weak areas. Don't do too much of it, don't make yourself sick. Women usually need, don't want as much, because you don't want to be burning too much of your blood away. Men maybe need a bit more. Do energy work, your circulations and all that stuff. Again, if you want to build up physical health, you're working more with the negative or the yin elements. Traumas, clear away your traumas, patch yourself up, get resilient emotionally and mentally. And of course, sex-wise, don't overdo it. Just learn your body, work with your, the kidneys are the root, and the kidneys and the root of the anus area is the root of health. That is the root of physical health. So if you fuck that one up, it's not going to be fun. Anatomy, get some basic anatomy, external muscles, internal organs, understand the elements and such. That will do you well. And of course, the seasons, everything is seasonal. So remember, everything changes a little bit every couple months. Just be adaptable and flexible, and change your routines up to adjust with the seasons. Adjust where you live, of course, adjust with what kind of period or timeline you're in, and it will be okay. So I hope that helped. Of course, get yourself stronger, healthier, better, because that is the root of life, the foundation of it and everything we do. And of course, feel free to check the links in the description for social and commercial stuff, and have a nice day.